You ever get that feeling, that sense that there's something more to life, some deeper potential locked up inside you just waiting to get out? Well, today, we're going to dive into a spiritual path that's designed to answer that very question. We're talking about the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda.
Okay, so let's just start right here with this incredible metaphor from Yogananda. The whole idea is that we are all born with this immense divine power, like the inner strength of a lion. But despite having that power, we so often go through life feeling small, feeling afraid, kind of like sheep, just reacting to whatever problems life decides to throw our way.
So what is it? What keeps us stuck in this state of feeling so weak when we have all this potential? Well, according to these teachings, the answer isn't something out there in the world. Nope. The problem and the solution, it's all happening inside our own minds. So the very first step on this path is about understanding the enemy. And here's the twist. That enemy is our own restless, untrained mind. It's that constant mental chatter, the nonstop noise in our heads that keeps us from ever really experiencing our true, powerful nature. Think about it. Our attention is constantly getting hijacked. It all starts with a sensation from the outside world, a sound, something you see, a smell, and bam, it grabs your focus. Then that sensation sparks a new thought. And before you know it, that one thought has triggered a whole chain reaction of old memories, pulling us further and further away from right here, right now. And here's the really funny part. Trying to fight this directly almost always backfires. There's this great story about a teacher who tells his student, this businessman, the secret to levitation. But there's a catch. One warning. Whatever you do, he says, don't think of a monkey. Well, of course, the guy goes home and he can think of absolutely nothing but monkeys. It's such a brilliant way to show that you can't just force your mind to be quiet.
Okay, so if wrestling with your mind doesn't work, what does? The goal that's presented here is something called self-realization. And listen, this isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've actually been the entire time.
So what is self-realization really? It's defined as the direct personal experience of your true self. Think of it less like building a new house and more like clearing out all the clutter in a room to finally see the beautiful space that was there all along. It's about peeling back all those layers of mental noise to remember your true immortal nature, a nature that is totally one with the universal spirit, or God.
And this brings our whole metaphor into crystal clear focus. On one side, you've got the sheep consciousness. It's driven by fear, restlessness, being attached to things. But on the other side, you have the lion consciousness of the soul. And that's a state of deep, profound calm, love, and a feeling of being connected to literally everything. This whole spiritual path is about making that journey from the fearful sheep to the calm, powerful lion.
So if that's the goal, how do you get there? What's the method? This is where Yogananda introduces a specific set of techniques called Kriya Yoga. And what's so fascinating is that it's presented not as some belief system you just have to accept, but as a kind of science, a practical, repeatable method for spiritual discovery.
I mean, in his own words, Yogananda calls it the quickest route to the infinite. The idea here is that just like there are physical laws that govern the universe, there are also these subtle spiritual laws, and if you learn how to apply them systematically, you can achieve a specific result, a totally expanded consciousness.
So how does it actually work? Well, the whole practice is about learning to control something called prana, which is just a word for the body's fundamental life energy. Right now, for most of us, that energy is flowing outward through our senses, chasing sights and sounds. The Kriya technique is a way to consciously pull that energy back from the senses and redirect it inward, circulating it up and down the spine. The teaching says this process energizes or magnetizes these subtle spiritual centers along the spine and in the brain, and that is what leads to a state of deep, restorative inner silence.
And here's a really fascinating piece of this teaching. It centers on the medulla oblongata, right at the base of the brain. It's actually referred to as the mouth of God. Why? Because it's considered the main point of entry for this cosmic life force into our bodies. It's seen as the spot where the divine connects directly with our physical form. Pretty cool, right?
Now, even though this path is described as a science, it also really emphasizes the need for guidance. This is where the relationship between a guru, a spiritual teacher, and the disciple comes into play. It's seen as an absolutely essential part of the journey.
And this quote from Yogananda's own guru, Swami Sri Yukteswar, is so key. The relationship isn't about just blindly surrendering your will. No, it's about aligning your own will, which is usually guided by habits, with the wisdom-guided will of the teacher. And here's the promise. By doing that, you don't lose your freedom, you actually find it.
Which brings us right back to where we started. The entire path, from understanding that restless mind to practicing the science of Kriya Yoga, is all designed to help with this one profound transformation. Going from feeling like a fearful, limited sheep to finally realizing the immortal, powerful roar of the lion within you.
And you know, in the end, the ultimate expression of this inner lion isn't just about power. It's about a boundless, unconditional love. This affirmation just perfectly captures that awakened state. It really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. What if our greatest strength isn't something we need to go out and get, but a deep, loving truth we just need to remember?